Hello there, people of YouTube. Today I'm doing not quite a Gunpla review, but it's pretty close, so I'm just gonna go with it here. So I'm taking a look at something different for October, the month of spookiness, so I decided to go with what would be a scary mech. Well, I mean, I guess some people have some ideas of what a scary mecha would be, but to me, you know, if you're familiar with the world of mecha, you're probably familiar with the Super Robot Wars or Super Robot Tyson series, and probably one of the more well-known dreadful baddies to deal with is Shu Shirakawa and his mighty mech, the Granzon, one of the OG bosses, all the way back from, gosh, I want to say he first appeared in Super Robot Wars 2, like, super long time ago. Way back on, I think it was the NES, was the Super Robot Wars 2. The first Super Robot Wars, I think, was on Game Boy. But anyway, this is a Kotobukiya kit. This is not a Bandai kit. There are a few differences between Kotobukiya's quality and Bandai's quality, which I'll try to talk about here. But anyway, the Super Robot Wars Granzon kit, or SRG-S38, kit number 38 in their series. This came out in January of 2010 for the price of 5,800 yen, so it comes in a master grade sized box for a master grade sized price. But is it a master grade? No, it's not. It's probably more comparable to a high grade here. So let me get to the photos here. Anyway, here's the box art. Like I said, the box is almost the size of a typical master grade kit box. So just imagine this as a master grade kit sized box here. So here is the side box here. You can kind of get an idea of the thickness of it here. Here's a side profile showing some of the poses you can do with the kit and some of the accessories that come with the kit. It's all in Japanese, so there's no translation here. I do want to point out that this is non-scale full action plastic kit, so it's not really 1/144th, but it's probably maybe a little close to that size range in comparison to a Gundam kit, so might be a little bit smaller than 1/144th, but we'll just have to kind of fudge the scale a little bit here. Anyway, here's some of the other kits in the Super Robot Wars Koto line if you're interested. Huckbanes, which are basically like Gundams, and the oh, I forgot what these things are called. Ginspence, Sidebuster, which is the hero dude Masaki, who likes to go after Shu all the time. This thing, which I can't pronounce, and these I can't pronounce either, so I'm not gonna try with that. Box information, not really interesting here. So here's the manual. And inside the manual, not a whole lot of runners. I kind of wish I had pictures of the runners for this kit, because they are kind of interesting the way Koto does some of their kits. So, I mean, it does look typical, like, on first glance. It looks like the same sort of thing you'd see from a Bandai kit. The only real difference here is that Koto will pre-paint some of the parts on their kits here, like for the Granzon especially. The parts for some parts for the legs and the faceplate and the center piece for the chest have actually already been pre-painted, so you don't have to like paint that stuff ahead of time. It's kind of nice. Anyway, construction of the kit, you can kind of see here. I would describe this kit as being very similar in build to a high-grade kit. It's not quite on the same level of quality as Bandai, but I think Koto does a pretty decent job here. I will say that one thing here, that the Granzon, because it's such a bulky mech design, as cool as this thing is, it really can't pose at all. It's just way too bulky. You'll see. And we do get a color guide chart here inside the kit, along with some of the original line art for it here. Of course, if you paint the kit, you'll probably make it look a hell of a lot better, but it's actually pretty decent straight out of the box with some minimal amount of work done to it. Here to show off the general assembly. You can kind of get this onto an action base. You will probably have to finagle for a little bit. There is like a little peg hole on the bottom of the kit. And there are a few articulating gimmicks on this kit. I mean, it's the Granzon. There's going to be a few gimmicks on it. There has to be. Here's some more look at the finished painted kit. This is a painted version on the back of the manual here. You can see the opening chest gimmick. Comes with 2 swords and the best at some posing on this kit. In order to paint smudges, that's when I was kind of working on it. The sign of a hard worker. Anyway, here's my finished kit here. Photos here. So as you can see, it's actually a pretty decent looking kit when it's all put together here. Your plastic colors, you're going to have kind of this this dark blue color. You got some basic red, dark red plastic. This kind of not quite black. It's kind of a really, really dark gray color. And you also get these clear orange parts that kind of... I'm not exactly sure what they're supposed to be on the Granzon. Maybe like energy condensers or something like that. I guess you can just figure out what it is. It can be whatever you want it to be. Here's the back side of the kit. I did have to do some painting on the kit. You can probably obviously tell here on the back, but it's not really that big of a deal. Close-up shot of the profile of the kit. You can kind of see the eyes right there. I do want to point out that this faceplate is pre-painted, so you don't have to paint any of this in, so it just kind of comes that way on the runner. So you don't have to do any of that. Also, this centerpiece on the torso is also pre-painted as well, except for the gold. I think I might have added the gold in myself, but this red was pre-painted on the kit already. And here I am just trying my best to show off. That sentence didn't really come out right. Trying my best to demonstrate the articulation of the kit. It's really very limited. Again, it's a very bulky design. And as good as Koto is at putting nice details on the plastic, they're not the best at designing articulation in their kits. Certainly nowhere near the level of Bandai here, but I think they kind of give it their best shot with this bulky design. Also, these yellow areas on the kit, these come pre-painted as well. These on the back and on the ones on the leg too. So here's the leg kick with my best attempt at showing how far up the leg can go. It can go pretty decently. So, and the knee bend is not. It's not even 90 degrees, so don't really expect too much out of that. Here it is from the front here, so it can balance on one foot. It's just the feet are pretty big, so there's no worry about this thing toppling over or anything like that. Here it is up on the action base with the first of the swords that come with this kit. You will have to kind of paint in these orbs on the sword here. They don't come painted, so you will have to kind of paint those in. They're technically supposed to be like an orange color to match the orange on the Granzon, but I didn't really have any orange paint, so I just kind of did the best I could. Now this sword is supposed to be the original sword for the Granzon. I don't remember seeing it in the original Super Robot Wars game, but I know it showed up in the Alpha, in Super Robot Wars Alpha, and probably Alpha Gaiden as well. I think that was the only game that I've actually seen this sword in, but maybe it showed up in some other games too, but probably haven't played those. But it's a very weird looking sword. Very, kind of reminds me of the Soul Edge that Nightmare uses in the Soul Calibur games, almost. Except it's blue colored. Anyway, there's another shot of it here, so sort of an action posy. And of course, you can tell there's seam lines and nub marks all over this kit. Just to, again, the difference between Koto's kits and Bandai's. You're just gonna have to... Koto has a different expectation in their kits, so just have to kind of accept that. And here's the other sword that comes with the kit. This is the nicer looking sword. This is technically the sword of the Neo Granzon. And I think probably starting around the OG games when, for whatever reason, Ban Presto just decided to just let the Granzon use the Neo Granzon sword from then on. I'm not sure why, but they just kind of stuck with it from then on. But anyway, this is a much nicer sword. And again, you have to kind of paint the details on it. It comes in this sort of gunmetal colored plastic, but you will have to kind of paint the edges on it and the jewel kind of in the middle there. I like this sword much better, so I can't really complain about having it. I mean, they technically left it on the Neo Granzon kit, but I'm glad they included it here because I think it looks much better. So again, trying to do some more poses here. I'm doing my best with that, so. But yeah, it's a pretty decently sized sword. And here's everybody's favorite gimmick with the Granzon. So all of these opening panels on the front of the Granzon, they open up, and it's supposed to be the... I know probably the Super Wars fanboys are probably going to get on me about this, but I think it's like a black hole generator device, and it basically creates wormholes and gravity wells. So there's all sorts of attacks that the Granzon uses that are kind of based around this here. There's Black Hole Crusher, Gravity Wave, and Worm Smasher, things like that kind of utilize this device that's in the middle of the Granzon. It's like super powerful. It just decimates everything around it. So that's why the Granzon is so powerful and feared and infamous in the world of mecha. So another shot of it is my title of repose, and here's just some kind of close up. I did paint all of this inside here just to kind of make it look nicer and a little bit more interesting. I do think this red is it might be pre-painted in the kit. I'm not sure. Might be, but you do get the little clear orange lens. These clear orange lenses don't really have anything behind them, so you may want to, if you do have the kit, you may want to consider painting those behind it just so it doesn't look like kind of muddy because of the blue behind it. And here's the accessories. Not a whole lot. You get the two different swords, the Granzon sword and the Neo Granzon sword. You get two open hands, you get two close fist hands, and you get one hand for holding the sword. And that's it. So let me move on to live view here. Alright, so here is the Granzon. I'm glad to see a much closer look at the head here. Let's kind of get an idea of the general bulk of this kit here. Actually, you know what? I probably should grab one of my Gundams here just to kind of show you the actual size comparison of this thing. Hold on a second. Should have did that ahead of time, but I didn't think about it. Come here. Come here, you. Mr. Entry Grade Gundam. Actually, let me straighten him out. I had him in a pose earlier, but anyway. That's how big this kit is to a 1/144 scale Gundam. Just to kind of give you an idea here. So, like that. So this kit quite a bit bigger, but it's not quite 1/144 scale. I think it's probably a little smaller than a 1/144 scale. The Granzon is actually a pretty big mech, from what I understand, in the Super Wars games. It's not quite the size of a full-on super robot, but it's certainly got the power of a super robot, I would say. So let me just try and show off some of the articulation here. So the head here, it's a little loose, but it's got some pretty decent articulation here. So it can go all the way around. Oh, I do want to mention a little fun fact about the head design of the Granzon. If it looks a little familiar, that's because it is. I think this was modeled after the Mazinger Z, so that's why it probably looks a little bit like that. The Neo Granzon, I think, was modeled after the Great Mazinger head, so that's why they look a little familiar. So arm can go around like that. Getting the shoulder up is kind of tricky because there's all of this. This whole thing is the shoulder here. So this massive shoulder piece and this, I don't know what this thing is supposed to be, a side shield. It's on a little articulation point here, but doesn't really move around too much, so you can't really get it out of the way. But so I can't really raise the arm at all. The arm in here can rotate on the joint there. The bend is really only 90 degrees. That's how much you can get out of it. This gauntlet piece can kind of move like that, and the hand is on a ball joint. Like that. That's about all you're going to get out of the arms here. Torso can spin on the waist there. Skirt armor can move around a little bit here. There's really not much here, but these can kind of move up and down a little bit here. The leg, like I showed in the photos, can move up pretty well, because really the skirt arm doesn't really get in the way of the legs too much here. You kind of can't really spread the legs out though, because these pieces right here kind of get in the way. Knee bend, like I mentioned, there's really not a whole lot of a knee bend here. That's about all you're going to get out of it. Less than 90 degrees. I will say all the joints are kind of loose on this thing, because I've had it for a long time. I got this around the time when it came out, and I've tried to do my best in posing it, but some of the joints have kind of worn out over time. So here's the feet articulation side to side, and then back and forth here. So the range of the feet is actually pretty decent, I would say. Definitely comparable to any of Bandai's high-grade kits. So on the back here, these little thruster veins here, these can move around like so, like that, up and down. Now all of these little vents here, these can all open up. These are all articulated, so you can open all these things up. It's kind of easier just to kind of start from the bottom. Of course, that came out. This kit does use its own kind of polycap system, but like I said, they've kind of worn out over time, so everything's kind of loose on this now. But you can open all these up like that to kind of show the thrusters opening up and all firing like that. So pretty nice gimmick to have. Now onto the torso here. Sort of the black hole generator device here in the middle here. Now this has to open up and close a certain way. You can't just open any of the panels up in any order here. To start off with, you do need to open the side pieces up first, like that, and then pull this piece down, like that, and then you can open the rest of it up. So, I can tell you some of the age of this thing is just, it is loose and trying to come apart on me, just to kind of show you how old this thing is. But anyway, there's the full detail of the inside of that there. Some pretty nice detail going on inside of here, especially if you decide to paint this up and make it look nice here, like I did. So I think it looks pretty cool. So anyway, to close that up, just kind of got to do the reverse order. Do those pieces first, put that down, and then close this up. If you do it out of order, it's not going to go together right. You'll definitely tell right away when it doesn't go together right. But yeah, so that's the Granzon. Show you the. Actually, you know what? While I got it here, I'll show you some of the things you kind of got to be aware of with this kit here. Things I did paint. I painted these here. These are technically supposed to be gray, but I had black paint at the time, so that's what I did for these parts here. Like I said, I painted behind the arms. These triangles I had to paint in. And of course the details on the inside there are painted, and the black on the very front here. So, and probably a few areas of red here and there. I think that's what I did. So really not a whole lot of painting, but I mean, if you want to just make it look a little better, of course, just go the extra mile. Like the little red pieces on the inside of the head there, I had to paint. So now Koto's plastic quality is not the same as Bandai's. Bandai tends to have this they tend to have a very, I want to say, not really a soft plastic, but kind of a really nice quality plastic where it just, the hobby knife will cut through it very easily. so it has kind of the soft, buttery feel to it, I guess I want to say. Koto's plastic, on the other hand, is more hard, more brittle, I would say. So it's going to be a lot more prone to some really nasty nub marks and gouging in the plastic here, which I tried my best not to do that too much on here, but it still kind of happened anyway. So that's just something to be aware of. Also, since it's a Koto kit, not Bandai, you will have like seam lines. If you're going to paint this kit, you're going to have a lot of seam line work to try and hide on this kit here, like up on the shoulders here, the arms, on the side legs here. So I mean, that's only if you want to go the extra mile and make it look really nice here, but I still think it's a nice kit here. Anyway, here's the accessories, so kind of go over here real quick, like the open hands here. Again, it's just a ball joint. There's a little polycap ball joint in there, so it's the same thing like on a Bandai kit, just kind of swap it out as needed. The holding hand, we'll have to kind of take one of these, I think it's this one of these gauntlet pieces off and stick it on here. And that, like that. So the hand is basically just a round slot, is all it is. So like I said, we got the Granzon sword and the Neo Granzon sword. There's only one handle, you just have to kind of swap the handle around, just pull it out, and then stick the hand through, and then stick the sword in there, like that, and then stick it in here. It does a pretty decent job of holding the sword, but like I said, some of the polycaps have gotten loose, so it's probably not going to hold it up completely. The gauntlet piece came off. Oh, yeah, get back on there. There we go. Get on there. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh. It does kind of drift a little bit out of pose, but just because the joints are kind of old on this here, but yeah, it's a pretty nice kit. I like it. I've always kind of wanted a kit, excuse me, a kit of the Granzon, because I used to play a lot of the Super Robot Wars games, so it's kind of nice to kind of have this thing. I always kind of liked this this machine because it was so feared and infamous. And it's nice to have this. I kind of like this a little better than the Neo Granzon, by the way. Anyway, so I know in the time I'm making this review, I have no idea if Koto has reprinted any of these kits, so this may be kind of hard to find nowadays. So, but if you do happen to find one and you think it's worth the asking price, you'll probably be satisfied with it. I mean, but just understand, don't go in expecting it to be on the same level as a Bandai kit, because it's not. It's like I mentioned, the differences here is that the plastic quality is kind of different here, and the polycaps are not quite the same quality, and articulation is not going to be up on the same par as a Bandai high-grade kit. So, but other than that, like with any kit, if you put the time and effort in to make it look good, it's going to look pretty good. So as long as you know that going into it. So, and that's probably true for most of the Super Robot Wars Koto kits anyway. So I really don't have that many. I only got like one other Koto kit on hand, which I might review someday. But I thought this would be pretty cool for the month of October and spooky season. So I don't know if you consider the Granzon spooky or not, but it's a pretty fearsome mech. I mean, come on. I mean, we've had plenty of Gundams that tried to go on against the Granzon, and with mixed success in fictional video game history. So not for real, but it's just fun to think about. Anyway, I guess that's probably about it. Oh, probably the last thing I should mention is the action base thing before I fall out here. Action base plug it down there. You can use the peg action base connector right there, or if you want to use the forks, you can also use that on here. So if you do have a Bandai action base, you can use that with this kit. I just want to make that clear, you can. So anyway, I think that's probably it for the review. I hope you guys found this informative for a kit that's not a Gunpla, and I hope you enjoyed me showing off and talking about something a little different for this review. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. As always on YouTube, I never want to ask for likes or anything, but if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like. And if you're interested in reviews or any of my video game shenanigans, you can subscribe to the channel as well. It would be much appreciated. Anyway, happy Halloween and have a good rest of the month, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.